Well, Christopher Bachmann is a France 24 journalist who is currently in Toulouse, and he joins us now. Christopher, good to talk to you tonight. This is an important piece of the puzzle, isn't it? That's news from Malaysia that, in fact, it is a Boeing 777 piece.
Yeah, well, I have to say the authorities in Malaysia and Australia are being far more forthcoming than the French authorities, who are being much more cagey about this. The piece will arrive here in Toulouse tomorrow morning. It hasn't left Réunion yet. It's leaving at 9:30 tonight, I understand, French time, or mainland French time. And then, of course, they'll then get down to work. Now, where it's going to in Toulouse is a place where you may remember that Air France crash that occurred in 2009, and all the wreckage from that flight that was from Rio to Paris was taken to the same hangar, hundreds of pieces, and they kind of went through all that over a very long period as they tried to work out what happened. Of course, they managed mainly through the boxes to find out what the black boxes, what happened. But they don't have quite as much material to go through, the luggage that they found and the piece of the plane. And because Toulouse, as you know, probably is also the headquarters of Airbus, the other big plane maker, there are really many, many experts based down here, engineers, people who train pilots, people who make the parts. So much of that know-how is based in this region. So they have the expertise to actually go through anything they got, any clues.
Tell us what you understand, Christopher, they'll be able to learn from this piece of debris, how they might particularly identify it as being from MH370.
Well, what they'll be doing, of course, is be looking for that serial number. There have been a lot of rumours about what the serial number is and whether it corresponds to a particular piece from Boeing or not. But because they'll actually be able to, I guess, even open up this whole wing section they've got and look inside, they can find the serial number and they can trace it pretty much back to whoever the manufacturer is. And that'll be the key issue. Another one which you can't rule out as well is that marine experts will be called in, because apparently some barnacles have been found on that wing element. Those could be like Pacific mussels. Now, if they've been on that plane side for over a year, that'll give you an idea as well that that plane's been in the water for a year and a half, if it is actually the Malaysian airline, of course. The French are also very interested in this, of course, because 4 of their national citizens died in that plane crash. And so the French judicial authorities actually opened up an investigation into this themselves, as they want to know the reasons why 4 people died from French nationality. And that's why the French authorities are very much involved in this investigation as well. However, they've told me that if most of the debris is found elsewhere, washes ashore somewhere else, and they're involved as well in the investigation, there's no reason why eventually the parts that come over to Toulouse won't be sent back to somewhere else where they can all be collected in one area.
That's interesting to hear that. And, of course, Réunion is a French territory, so it all makes sense with that level of expertise and the interest. How long do you think this might take? And, of course, we know that Malaysian officials are going to Réunion to see how much more there is left.
That's right, and I believe Malaysian officials are then coming over to Toulouse as well. I don't know when, but they'll be coming over here as well. To take the other kind of well-known crash, the Air France crash, and that happened in 2009, and it took a good 3 years before they actually were able to really establish what was the cause of that accident. So this could take, there's so many elements that are still unknown. I mean, this is still the biggest mystery in aviation in decades. And so what actually happened, what could they find from this one bit of airplane part? Who knows? Could there be some sort of explosives there? Could be the signs of impact? It's really, there's so much that's still missing, but at least this gets rid of, if it is the Boeing plane, then it gets rid of a lot of the conspiracy theories about they could be somewhere else. So at least we're down to facts at the moment.
Indeed, and you talk about conspiracy, and the biggest nation affected was China. Even just yesterday, there are still so many people reluctant to believe that this plane has crashed and that it might still be somewhere being held. Do you think at some point China might start getting involved?
Absolutely. I mean, the French authorities right now have got off Réunion, they've got boats, they're in military Navy boats which are patrolling, they've got helicopters, but clearly, being where it is, they could do with extra resources, and I'm sure the Chinese will be probably right now speaking to the French authorities to see how they can collaborate, look at where the tides are from Réunion to wherever potentially the plane crashed. And I'm sure they'll be sending reinforcements down to help for that search now as they kind of backtrack where the debris might be coming from and washing up in Réunion. I think there's no question that the Chinese and the Malaysians will be adding up to the resources for that.
Christopher, really great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.